Okay, my name is Tina. It's so nice to meet everyone here. I'd like to present to you Asian favorites. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Hang on.
Can anyone get off?
We can now, Tina, but we're seeing the whole screen. We're not. Oh, okay. Now we can see Asian
Okay.
favorites.
Okay, so from our homes to yours, traveling around Asia, bringing you Asian favorites. My name is Tina, and I'm the host today, but I'm presenting you the beautiful ladies Anne, Betty, Deborah, Lucy, Sharon, and our moderators Anne Marie, Jeanette, and Janine. So, from our homes to yours, this is our favorite Asian recipes. You know, we're just covering just a little bit from what Asia can give you. And these recipes are from Cookie Do, but not only that, they're also recipes, recipes from home with tips and tricks from our family kitchen to yours. So, what are we going to present today? We have from China, we have our okay, from China, we have Singapore to Vietnam. The Hainanese chicken rice is our favorite. They came from the Hainan migrants who settled in Asia and made this popular dish, adapting it to the fresh ingredients wherever they are in. The dish consists of the whole steamed chicken served with cooked rice cooked with the chicken stock and served with various condiments. The signature sauce may vary from country to country. Chili sauce, ginger, garlic, dark soy makes you all salivate right now. Now, in with the Thermomix, you can steam the whole chicken in the varoma, which is the steamer unit in the Thermomix, keeping the flavor of the chicken and the marinade intact while the meat remains tender and moist. And the sauces can be made in the Thermomix in under a minute. We are also featuring from Hong Kong, we're having the Siu Mai and the Dan Tat. Now, we did a little bit research of that. The dim sum dishes, or the yum cha as what we know it here, they actually mean dim sum, which means touching the heart. So these are all bite-sized foods that travelers would eat during the trade route. They would eat at tea houses and have it alongside with tea. And all these tiny little delights are what they enjoy. And Hong Kong is now has been a famous route for these international travelers to stop by to enjoy these. So we are going to feature the egg tarts, which is a adaptation of the English egg tart and the Portuguese style pastel de nata. It has created an attract it is created to attract customers with the lard based puff pastry and similar to the steamed egg pudding. Now Siu Mai is a Chinese dumpling which has origins in Hot Hot in Inner Mongolia. Honestly, when I'm thinking of the name Hot Hot from Inner Mongolia, I should think that they might want to change their name, but this is a thing that actually did come from Siu Mai did come from Inner Mongolia. It consists of a thin wrapper of a mixture of minced pork and prawns, and it has many variations, but the very popular ones are the ones that the migrants took them with which are called the Cantonese style Siu Mai. Now from Indonesia, we have the Gado Gado, which is an Indonesian salad served with a thick peanut sauce. This salad consists of a variety of steamed vegetables served with boiled egg, fried tofu, and tempeh, which is a soybean cake. It's a perfect and complete vegetarian dish. Now, hailing from Thailand, we have Tom Yum, which is probably one of the most famous flavors from Thailand. It's a hot, spicy, and sour soup, and the meaning Tom is actually a boiling process, and Yum means to mix. Nam Prik Pao is the base of this soup, and using this complete mix of herbs and spices. Now we have the Pandan Chiffon Cake, which is a favorite from Southeast Asia. Many may dispute that the origins are from Indonesia or Malaysia, Singapore, but you know what? It is Southeast Asian. Now, Indonesia has Dutch influence, and the Malaysian Singaporeans have a British influence when it comes to baking. This cake was adapted to using local ingredients, the pandanus juice or the vanilla of the South Asian desserts, and the coconut milk was used in replacement of cream or milk. Now, we are playing this little game, and I'd like you to interact with us.
You're on mute, Tina.
Can't hear anything.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, you're back.
Okay, I'm back again. I don't know what happened. Okay, so what is this ancient machine? I'd like you to pop in the chat. Bonus points if you know it in a language other than English. Here we go. What is this? And you might want to get off mute. Get on mute. Okay. Does anyone know what this is? Here's a better hint. I'm sure everyone knows what it is right now. That's right. It's the mortar and pestle. Let's try this one. What do you think this would do? Any guess?
Coconut grinder.
That's right. That's the ancient coconut grinder where we sit on a stool and the edge of the blade actually grates the coconut. So it's a coconut grater. Now, who can tell me what this is? What do you think this is?
Ice shaver.
Ice shaver. That's right. It is an ice shaver. Well done, guys. Now we're gonna go straight to the show. And why did I bring this to you? It's because the Thermomix now, and this is how the Thermomix looks like. For some of us here who are seeing the Thermomix for the first time, this is the Thermomix right in the center, and it is an appliance that replaces 20 appliances in just one. It has 20 functions and 13 presets mode. And today we're going to show you how it makes our Asian favorites. So I'm sure you've been wanting to see this. We will now pop over and spotlight An, who will show you the first dish, Hainanese chicken rice. Over to you, An.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Tina.
You're welcome. Take over.
Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to cook the chicken Hainan. It's normally go with the ginger sauce. I'm gonna make it today, but not the chili sauce because the chili sauce is so quick with the cookie dough. So we're gonna start with the ginger, escalate, and then just let the Thermomix green it for you in 5 seconds. Grab it with the spatula in the clockwise direction. Oil. And salt. Then we have the ginger paste again, mincing it again. Yeah, you're gonna see how the Thermomix has already green the ginger and the escalop. And now it's gonna cook it a bit for 5 minutes. During that time, I'm gonna be back after 5 minutes to show you the ginger sauce ready from the Thermomix. Thank you, Tina.
Okay, now over to you, Betty.
Hi everyone, I'm Betty. So I'm going to be showing you a couple of snacks from Hong Kong that Tina have briefly introduced. First I'm going to show you is actually the Siu Mai, the little dim sum that you see at Yum Cha a lot, little wrap in a thin wrapper, porky steam snack. So the Thermomix is good enough to, it's smart enough to grind pork belly down into pork mince for you. And I was going to do it today, but in midst of lockdown, I have not managed to source myself some pork belly. So I have skipped and used pork mince today. But it still mixes and cuts the prawn really well. I'll just show you what I've done a little bit. So I've popped the pork in, the prawn in, all my other ingredients, which the cookie dough will take you through, which includes sesame oil, sugar, cornstarch, and some salt. All in, and I'm going to ask the TM to mix it for a minute for me. While I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to make the siu mai. Instead of making the wrapper myself, which takes a really long time and a lot of effort, you can go and buy pre-made wonton skins. What's good about pre-made wonton skin is that it's thin, you don't need to roll it or shape it, but there is a trick with using pre-made stuff, is that they come in squares, and if you try to wrap it as a square pastry, it won't look very nice. So you need to trim the corners off. So just chop all 4 corners off. And you are left with these octagon shaped pastries. And while that's doing that, you're supposed to go oil your aroma tray, which I'm just steam the siu mai in, which I've oiled already, so it's nice and shiny. And in about a minute, it's all done. I'll show you what it's done for me already. Look at the pork. It's all like sticky and shiny. This actually gives it a really good chewy taste. It bounces off your teeth. Now, let me move my TM out of the way a little bit. And I'm going to show you quickly how to actually wrap these dim sums. It's actually easier than you think. Just get a 2 teaspoon worth. Pick it up. Put it in the middle. Well, depends on how big you want yours. My kids generally like them quite big. And just sort of bring it up like wrapping a flower. And then you hold it with your thumb and index finger. You touch it a bit, and then you flatten the bottom. And there you go. That's one of them. I'll show you a few more because it's actually not tricky and it's a really good treat for kids. I usually make this for lunch over the weekend, and it's such a fast treat to make for them. So you pop the meat in the middle. You bring the skin up. You sort of hold it between your finger and thumb, and you tap the bottom to flatten it, and you pop it down. I'll just do one more, and I'll get on with my egg tart, which is probably more fun than this. So you sort of bring it up, push it down so it's nice and even, tap the bottom, pop it down. And for decoration, I've ground up some carrots, and this was done in a few seconds in the TM as well. And just pop this on top of your siu mai. You don't need a lot.
Hey Betty, did
Yeah.
you grease the varoma tray?
Yes, I did. Can you see it? Quite shiny. I sort of mentioned that while I was
Yes,
mixing the
that's
pork
great.
mince to grease it so it will not stick. So
Great
it
tip.
looks like short pot siu mai. It's actually
Yeah.
tastes like short pot siu mai. It's actually better than short pot, to be honest.
That's great.
It's one of the first snacks I've made since owning my TM. Then the next thing that I'm going to show you guys is the egg tart, another popular dim sum at Yum Cha. Because of the time constraint, I've made most of them. I've shaped most of them into the molds already. The pastry is easily made in the Thermomix, but I have to say, I have changed the cookie dough recipe a little bit because I don't find it as authentic as the real Hong Kong egg tarts. I will be sharing the recipe with you in the email that follows this cooking class, but you can follow the cookie dough method in making the pastry. Sort of just follow the steps and put the ingredients slightly different, a bit more, but less. And to actually mold it is actually quite easy. For those of you who are confident, just pick up a bit of pastry and just plonk it and go. For those of you who are not too sure, I've weighed this. This is 25 grams, and it will fit the egg tart mold perfectly. So what you do, you just sort of press down, just sort of go around it a bit until it evenly comes up to the edge. And when it's at the edge, you can see that it's quite flat. You want to pinch it so it creates a small, like a fence, like a taller edge, so it could hold more of the egg filling. So you turn as you pinch. So instead of a very flat across edge, it has this slightly raised edge. I'll do another one. Here's another pre-measured 25-gram pastry. Plonk into the tart mold. Push with your thumbs. Turn as you go.
Now, Betty, does the tart does it come off the cases easily?
Yes. Oh, that is a trick. Thank you for reminding me, Tina. So when you as you mold it, don't catch onto the mold. If you have any pastry stuck on the outside of the mold, it will get caught when you try to tip it out. And you do need to tip them out sort of warmish, and you tip them fast because it's slightly hot. So there you go, another one made.
So do you need to oil the cases?
No, because the pastry has butter in it, you will not need to oil it. And I've used these like for ages, so you can see they're not shiny or new anymore. I've had them for 9 years. So if you don't want to measure, if you don't want to pre-measure it, just pick up a big chunk, push it in, and you do what I just did. Except you're gonna have lots of leftover, but that's all right. Just sort of push them off your mold. And once it's all pushed off, you can see that it's all flat. And then you go and pinch it to create that raised edge. Next, I'm going to talk to you guys about the actual filling of it. The cookie dough recipe suggested that we blind bake the pastry. I've tried it, and I've been making egg tart before. I have a Thermomix. I'm using my mom's recipe, and I compared the cookie dough recipe to my family's recipe, and I found that if I don't blind bake it, it tastes nicer and it's more authentic that way. So this is the egg filling. Instead of blind baking the pastry, I'm just going to fill up directly and sending it straight to the oven. The temperature that I'm baking it is also slightly tweaked from the cookie dough, which will also include in the email for you. And you can see this it actually turns out really nice after baking. That's me with the Siu Mai and the Dan Tart. Next time I see you guys, I'll have them both cooked, steamed, and baked. You can see how pretty they are.
Wonderful. Great job. Okay, we'll pass it over to Anne again. Over to you.
Thank you. That's great. Now my kitchen is full of the flavor with the ginger flavor. You can see the steaming out going up from there. I'm gonna put it out, but not everything. I just put like half of it, and I reserve the rest. This is just enough for us to using as the dipping sauce, and I reserve some to saute my rice now. The rice has already well rinsed. It is. I'm gonna saute it within 2 minutes, and during that time, I'm gonna prepare the chicken. Just 2 minutes in 100 degree, reverse and stick to. Now I'm gonna prelift it now the ginger dipping sauce and preparing chicken. I'm going to prepare it inside the varuma with the trivet. This is very good for steaming the whole chicken because it's going to have like the space for the steaming to coming out. Instead of when you put all the chicken into the varuma, it may block the steaming. You can easily fry it from the mixer. The chicken have like the sauce, which is the just simple pepper, salt, some sesame sauce, and a little bit of the soy sauce. That's all. I just spread out everywhere with the chicken. Just put it like this.
What size is your chicken?
It's around 1.5 kilogram, I think. And just put inside the cavity some shallot and ginger. This is the ginger inside.
And ginger.
This is the total of the garlic. That's all you need. Very simple. And because of the aroma treatment, we do not have to worry about the steaming of this. Now I'm gonna use the meter to put it onto the breast and then set my meter up to the 74 to the medium red, and it's gonna help me with the, I just need to tap the setup, select the chicken, poultry chicken, the whole chicken, and then select the medium. Well, it's automatically put it into the 74 degree for me. And then I just use the start cooking. It's gonna inform me about the time that my chicken perfectly cooked. Now, let's take the rice out and go back to the simmering basket. I just put out everything rice, turn the rice out, and then simply I just steam the rice for 20 minutes, and then take it out, put the rice into the thermal server to let it absorb more water and being fluffy, and continue with the steaming with the chicken on top. That's it. Very simple. I'm gonna put a little of the water into. Set. Put it on. Put the simmering basket for the rice. Close the lid. And the varuma on top of it. And the lid of the varuma. Now I'm going to set it up for 20 minutes before I take out the rice and leave it into my thermal server to let it being fluffy up. And later on, I continue with the cooking for the chicken until it's reached the time that the meter gonna inform me on my phone. That's it. Thank you. I will come back later.
Well done. That's great.
It's
Isn't it
done.
great? So many things at the same time. Okay, now over to you, Lucy.
Hi everyone, I'm Lucy. Today I'll make Gado Gado. Gado Gado is the Indonesian salad that we serve with peanut sauce. I'm using the cookie dough recipe, and in the cookie dough recipe, the first step is to cook the vegetable first, but I will jump to the making the sauce, and while the sauce cooking, I'll show you how to prepare for the vegetable. So the first thing is we need roasted peanut. I'm using the beer nuts, which is available everywhere in the local supermarket, so it's easy, and also it's already pre-roast and it's just need to use it straight away. Then we'll grind it for 2 times of turbo to 2 seconds. Let's have a look. With 4 seconds, it's all dried really fine. And we'll put it on the side, back to the bowl, then we will cook the sauce.
Lucy, someone was commenting that they love the use that you use the beer nuts.
Yes,
Did you use beer nuts?
I found it, and it's really convenient, and it's not that expensive either. And the other thing, if you want to make it more fancy, you can use cashew nut. And the next step here is for the spices, what we need to use is shallot. This is shallot, which is you can get it from the local supermarket, or probably more in the Asian grocery. It's a small one. If you cannot find this one, you can not use it, or you can just use a little bit of the brown onion. Put one in, and garlic, chili. Chili is up to you whether you want to more spicy, you put more chili, less spicy, less chili. And this one is the shrimp paste. Shrimp paste, you can get it from the Asian supermarket, or also from the I have a look the other day in the local supermarket. They have it in the Asian aisle, and most of them now it's already pre-roasted. If you cannot find the one that already roasted, you got to pre-roast it first. So the belacan looks like this, or any other brand will do. And the next thing to do.
I like that it's made in Malaysia.
Well, we mix between Malaysia or Indonesian. I got the Indonesian one, but it's more, you gotta find it in the Indonesian grocery shop. And there's a kaffir lime leaves, which is the middle part already taken and also separate apart. And the last bit is the shrimp, dried shrimp that I already pre-soaked. So if you don't like this one, which smells a bit more fishy, you can not use it. Put all together, and we will grind it. We will mill it for spit. Second. All already grind together. Oh, there's a missed bits there.
We've just lost your sound a bit there, Lucy. Can't really hear you.
Oh, sorry. So in the 15 seconds, we got all these things here. And the next one we got to do is to saute all the spices there. Put a bit of oil. Then we will saute it. Okay, while it's sauteing, I will show the
There's just a question there. Is it any sort of oil, Lucy, that works for this one, or a particular oil?
No, any oil will do. I'm using canola oil or any oil. Vegetables oil is fine as well. It's more like sauteing the spices. Okay, for preparing for the vegetable to steam, first is we fill up our bowl like 1 liter. Then I already prepared here. In a simmering basket, we put some eggs, 4 eggs there, and potato that I already cut into wedges. There's 2 potatoes here, and I cut into wedges, cut to 4 or 8, whichever you like the. Then put the lid on because we got aroma here. So we will put the aroma at top. The aroma there. We'll have our, this one is chocos. The Indonesian like chocos in the Gado Gado. So I already prepared the chocos there. The chocos looks like this. It's like pumpkin, but similar type of pumpkin. So cut it to half and then make it a julienne like this, like a matchstick. Or I put the triplet at the top here, so the steam will come out and steam it evenly. So I put my chocos there. Then we normally use green beans, but it's not common to use green. We normally use the snake beans, but it's not common. So I use the green beans instead. You can get the snake bean. That's what we normally do. And as an extra, this is more for the adult. This is the bitter melon. So it's really bitter. So it looks like this, and when you cut it, it's inside. It's all the seeds there. Take all the seeds out. Then we cut. Put it here. The adult will like it. This is more like we normally have over there, but the kids will definitely don't like it.
It's very
Really
healthy.
bitter.
It's very good for your blood circulation and purification. It's good. There's a lot of good stuff in it. With the bitter gourd,
Yes.
I've
Then
never tried it with bitter gourd.
at the top of the aroma tray, I prepare here some kale and bean sprout. The kale, we normally not use kale in Indonesia. We normally use kangkung, or we call it morning glory here. But the season is normally on summer. So the other way is we use kale. It's an optional. There are so many vegetables available, so we can use any vegetable around. We can chop even like carrot or tomatoes. Then put the lid on, and we steam all together. It's about 12 to 15 minutes.
That's a wonderful, wholesome, and complete meal. I'm just gonna look really nice on the plate, isn't it?
Yes. The other thing is I prepared earlier. This is actually tempeh. So where's my tempeh? The tempeh looks like this when I bought it from Coles the other day. Then I'll cut it small and I fried it. So, or you can also do not frying, but the grill.
Or
So,
air fry.
or air fry, yes. And also the tofu, same thing. You can air fry or you can fry. The next, after our spices sauteed, we will put all the other ingredients, which is we will put the tamarind puree. The tamarind puree, it will looks like this. So in the supermarket, in the aisle, in the Asian aisle, you can see tamarind puree. And also the next one is looking for the gula. We call it gula Jawa or gula aren. It's a black sugar, which is like a lock. Then you shape it.
What's the difference between the Jawa and the Aren?
The taste actually is a bit different, but it looks similar. So whichever available will do.
Okay.
One's coconut sugar and the other one's palm.
Yeah, one is coconut sugar, the other one is palm sugar. It tastes quite similar. If you eat it all the time, you know what is what. But if not, both of them will do.
And if you didn't have it, could you use dark brown or just brown sugar?
I normally like the palm sugar.
Okay.
Not sure why, but probably it's just my taste. I grew up with that one more often.
Okay.
Okay, so let's back here. Yeah, it's totally enough. The next one is to put the where's
Thanks for the chat, everyone. I think if you are following the chat, you can see that there's a lot of good information as well. And thanks, Anne Marie and Jeanette, for putting in links. It's great to know that we can have the recipe on hand and you can just tap into it while you're watching.
it's been
Yes,
sorted
Janine
here.
and Jeanette, yes.
The next one to put the palm sugar in, and also the palm sugar. After I shave it, it looks like this. Then salt. Then the tamarind paste. For tamarind paste, I only use half of what the cookie dough recipe advised us because I found it too sour for my liking, so I only have it half. Then water. So we will cook this together. So with our Thermomix, everything going in, they mill it, they chop all the spices as well, they cook it, and we just need to put everything in, bang, 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 done. Then wait a bit, and it will mix it as well. So we don't need to do any mixing. And later on, after it's done, if we don't like it, like let's say it's a bit chunky, too chunky for us, we can just skip we can blend it again to make it thinner. And the next one is we also use the coconut milk and the water there. We already put the water in, just need to add the coconut milk. If we don't like to put coconut milk in, we can skip it.
What would you replace it with if it's not coconut?
Oh, yes, sir. So we can replace with adding the water in.
Okay, water.
when for me, when I grew up, we normally not put the coconut milk in, but that's some some places they use coconut milk often, so they put it in, and well, it doesn't. It tastes is a bit different. It depends on how you like it.
Mm. And that's the difference with a lot of the Asian cooking. We have also different districts and different places, and where you are and where you've grown up. That's what you're used to, accustomed to. And just like Lucy has mentioned, she's more favoring the just having water instead of coconut milk. And that's the style that you differ, that you get from one place to another. I'm so glad that we can share our experiences and the way we cook based on the way that we grew up. Yeah. How are you going, Lucy? You've already cooked the vegetables ahead of time, correct?
Yes, I already prepared my vegetable ready there to show.
And it's very helpful that you showed us how you packed it in. So you've got extra vegetables to eat. I can see that.
Yeah, we you can put many of vegetables there if you don't like it. The things that we normally have it raw is the cabbage. So
As in a regular cabbage,
yeah,
the
regular cabbage.
round,
I just
okay, shredded.
cut it, shred it, yes. And the
Okay.
other things is the cucumber.
Ah, yes.
So
Yep.
shredded of the cabbage and the cucumber.
So
Yep.
could you add in things like red capsicums, green capsicums, throw that in as well?
It's not
Or
really common for capsicum in Indonesia. Because we eat lots of chili, so we normally not have capsicum. Uh, Mostly here, I found that people put the salad, the iceberg lettuce, or
yeah,
the tomatoes.
and course lettuce too, I reckon.
Yes, course lettuce.
Yeah.
Okay, it's done. Next one is to put coconut milk.
Could you put coconut water instead, since you mentioned water?
And normally not, but
Okay.
you can.
I guess, yeah, it again, if whatever you have in your pantry, especially now we have lockdown, just use whatever you think that would fit and then flavor it up according to how you prefer. It's always the best bet.
Oh, and the other thing, don't forget, there is a peanut
Oh, yes.
back in. Yes. See, with I only make half recipe here, but it's a lot. It's like they said it's served for 6 for the whole recipe, but I reckon it's actually quite a bit there. And if you find that the sauce is quite thick, you can add more water up to 100 gram. So some people like it thick and mix it with the vegetable there, so it's like a thick sauce. And some people like it lighter, so they put more water in there, mix it together. And the other things that the Indonesians really like to serve is our crackers.
Oh, yes.
So this is 3 kind of crackers that I have here. So the big one here is the prawn cracker, and the small one here is the onion cracker, and this one is a bitter nut cracker. It tastes bitter, but mostly the adult will like it, and we sometimes eat it with ketchup manis. Everything, if you see the Indonesian cooking with lots of ketchup manis, and we
Andrew is
prefer with
asking if you made them.
which one?
Did you make all these crackers?
I know I fried it, I deep fried it, but I bought it. It's available in Chinese supermarket, in the Asian grocery, they sell it. But most of them is the Chinese one, which is the prawn cracker is a bit different. They looks more like this,
Mm-hmm.
but the color a bit pinkish.
That's right.
And this one is the shallot. This one I fried myself. So the cookie dough also got a fried shallot recipe there. It's
Wow,
actually tastes really good compared with the commercial one.
oh, that's really good. So yes, now the Thermomix, the TM6 now, taking it to high heat, you can make your fried shallots and your fried garlic in a smoke-free environment because the Thermomix is isolating all the smokes into that one pot and you don't have to fiddle around with it. How great is that? What are you making next, Lucy?
Okay, it's ready now. I'll pour it. Need 15 seconds to cool it down until the machine let me open it.
So, if you go to the Cookie Dough, so Cookie Dough is a recipe platform that Thermomix uses. It reads the recipes on the screen itself. And one of the recipes in the Cookie Dough Malaysia high heat that just recently came out, it makes fried shallots, fried garlic, fried anchovies, which is the ikan bilis or the tiny little fish. It does fried peanuts as well. So those are new recipes that's just come out, and for all TM6 Thermomix, yes, it's a TM6 recipe, which uses high heat. It looks good.
Can you see that? Yeah, I
Oh,
will
yeah.
pour it in. Yeah.
Yeah, we wish that there was aromas that came attached with Zoom.
It smells really nice.
It looks good too.
And we normally put the fried salad at the top. Oops, it's too much. Never mind.
No, it's never too much of fried stuff.
Okay, so that's how I normally serve.
Yum, that is so good. Look at that, guys. So
It's
good.
all that different type of vegetable there.
Yum, that's so good for the eye and so good for your body. And I see you have this, is that potato as well? Did you have potatoes?
Yes, the potatoes is go together with uh, the egg when we boil it.
Okay, okay. All right, missed that, sorry. Wonderful. Don't forget to take a photo because we know that the kids are going to start looking at it and the adults are going to start to pick on it. So, yes. Are we over and passing it over to Deb? Okay, here we go.
Hi everyone. Um, the
What
pandan
are you
chiffon.
making?
I'm making the pandan chiffon cake. So this is the Asian white elephant, I believe. Every Asian customer that I've sold the Thermomix to, one of the first things they ask me is, can I make pandan chiffon cake? And the answer is yes. And this is not the pandan chiffon cake in the cookie dough. I'm going to share with you my tried and tested recipe that's based on a recipe from a recipe book called Beatrix Bakes. And Beatrix is a famous cake shop in Melbourne, and they make this absolutely stunning passion fruit chiffon cake. But I have adjusted it to make it a pandan chiffon cake. And while we're waiting for the egg whites to whip a bit later on, I'll go through the various variations that you can apply to my recipe, because it's very easy to change up the flavors using my recipe. It's not just a pandan chiffon cake lesson today, it's a chiffon cake lesson. So, but today I'm going to showcase how to make pandan chiffon cake. But first, the things that are important are, you need a chiffon tin. And this you can get at the mix shop. It's a really good size, it's the 9-inch. So that you find the chiffon in the mix shop. The other thing that's really important is that you need to have all your utensils and your ingredients ready and waiting, right? Making a chiffon cake is like a choreographed dance. Things have to be ready at the right time, and so you have to really follow the instructions. Once you kind of get the rhythm of where things go and at what time and the timing of where you add things, this will take the mixing will take no longer than 6 or 7 minutes, right? So it's a really quick interchange between steps. The first thing you need to do is turn on the oven. Absolutely turn on the oven. You don't want to be mixing and then going, I've got a perfectly good chiffon cake mix and the oven's not ready, it's going to deflate. I've turned my oven on 45 minutes ago. It's on. The other thing that you need to be ready for is not for alcohol, but to find a bottle that you can upturn your tin on. So this will come out of the oven, and as soon as it comes out of the oven, you need to invert and pull it. And the way you pull it is to put it on top of a bottle neck, right? Kind of a solid bottle, but you need to make sure that your tin fits. You don't want to get to the point where you pull it out of the oven and you're scrambling to find a bottle. These are my life lessons. Find a bottle first, make sure it fits, and you have it ready, right? Clean pan, bottle, oven. Make sure all your utensils and your Thermomix bowl are clean. Make sure you've got all your ingredients in place. For the ease of this, for this class, I've weighed up everything, but at the very least, what you want to do is make sure that you have the ingredients on hand and enough ingredients. You don't want to be running around the kitchen, trying to find your flour, your sugar, your salt. Okay, so let's go. I've split it into the recipe into 2 bits. One's a mixture A, one's a mixture B. And the mixture A is your yolk recipe. Now, if you look at traditional recipes, you'll be doing step by step, add this, add this, add this. With the Thermomix, I'm going to put everything in. So you will have your recipe in the pack later in the email that they'll send to you. But I'll go through the ingredients right now. So we start with sugar, 150 grams of sugar. The recipe actually, the original recipe actually asks for 300 grams of sugar all up, including the ones in the egg white. I've reduced it. So for you who are sugar conscious, I've actually already reduced the sugar level. So what you're going to be using today, as it's a manual recipe, is you're going to go to your scales, your inbuilt scales, and you're going to measure up 150 grams of sugar. Okay. And then you tare. The next bit is 240 grams of plain flour, sifted. Okay. You've got 15 grams of baking powder. This is one of the best things about this recipe is you no longer have to try and find cake flour for a chiffon cake. Use your plain flour, the stuff that's in your pantry. Okay, 2 grams of salt.
Sorry, Deb, can I just ask, did
Yes.
you sift the flour in the Thermomix?
I did not sift the flour, but what you can do is you can sift the flour by just turboing a couple of times. Otherwise, another trick is that you use, this is a Martha Stewart trick, get a whisk with a bowl and just stir through the flour with the whisk, and it's sifted for you. It is caster sugar, and that'll be in the recipe. Okay, now, the best thing about this recipe is it doesn't depend on the number of eggs that's required in the recipe. It's actually weighed. So you have to be particular on the grams that you weigh in for the egg. So for this one, I'm going to measure up 140 grams of egg yolk. I think I've lost the spotlight. Can anyone see me?
Yeah, we can see you. I've just
Okay,
added your second camera to be a second spotlight. Is it showing up okay?
Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay, the next thing is I'm going to add is 120 grams of coconut milk. I would say no more than 120 grams because the coconut milk actually increases the density. That's 115. That's fine.
Any particular brand? Any particular brand?
Look, my mum would say get a Thai brand. I'm not particular. It's whatever comes in my my Woolworths Click and Collect. So yeah, I've found that it doesn't change the quality whether you use a authentic Thai brand or not.
Okay.
Yeah. The next thing is I will add 60 grams of pandan juice. So there'll be a link to my Instagram. I've done a video on how to extract the pandan juice, and it's really easy. But if you are lazy and you don't want to have do pandan juice, which I often am, because sometimes there's just no pandan in the freezer or no pandan in the market, you just make up a mixture of 60 grams of water and pandan extract, which I will actually be using anyway to bring out the color, because I find that the pandan juice is not green enough for my liking, gets pale. So 60 grams. And I'll go through this on the alternative flavors that you can use. But basically what you want to do is you want to make up 180 grams of that liquid mixture. So the mixture of coconut milk and the pandan juice, or an alternative 180 grams of a different flavor. So in this case, I've made up 180 grams of liquid pandan juice with the coconut milk. Okay, so I'm going to add a couple of drops of pandan extract, just because I've got the pandan extract flavor, the juice flavor, but I just need that more of a hint of a green. If you don't want to do this, that's fine. And we can adjust the color in our second batch. And then the last thing is 110 grams of vegetable oil. Vegetable oil, not coconut oil. Don't use any other oil other than like a very flavorless oil, because the coconut oil actually changes the texture of the chiffon cake. But if you make, this is just a plain Coles brand vegetable oil. So this is 110 grams.
Deb, someone's asking if the pandan extract is also lending a flavor, or is it just for color?
No, it has a flavor. So that's why you won't go wrong if you don't have pandan leaves that you want to extract juice from. If you use the pandan extract, it's totally fine.
Can I ask, does it make a difference if you were to use a coconut cream instead of milk?
Yes, don't use coconut cream because it's a heavier and denser substance. You want that light and airy texture in the chiffon cake, so you don't want to make it the mixture more heavy than it has to be. What you'll find is actually the pandan chiffon is a little bit denser than you would with other cakes that you would just use juice, for instance, like orange juice, but it's still very light. So you want to minimize the density of the mixture. Coconut milk, definitely.
And for oils, canola oil, is it okay?
Canola oil, vegetable oil, any oil that is flavorless.
So no olive oil?
Unless you like a pandan olive oil chiffon cake, but that's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to mix it for 1 minute at speed 4. So this is a manual setting, 1 minute at speed 4. And then after 1 minute, I'm going to scrape the sides, and then I might adjust the color at that point as well, in case I want it more green.
We missed you there. I think the sound of the blend was overtaking you. So yes, flavorless oil is the key, unless you want the flavor to be prominent.
Someone who was asking about thickened coconut cream compared to just coconut milk. It's like thickened cream. It's got something to to thicken it up and bulk it up, basically, to get it that thickness. Traditionally, we actually do what we our coconut cream used to be the first extract from the coconut. That's what we use to do the cream, and then we let it set, and you get this cream that floats on the top. But if you buy packets, it's not. It's actually there is a thickener in it.
Right, so that's done. And what I want to do is I do want to add a little bit more green. And don't worry if it looks more intense here, because remember what we're going to do is we're going to add the whipped egg whites, and that's going to lighten the color. So you've got to kind of compensate for adding the egg whites. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. And the recipe also says to mix it for another 30 seconds, just to make sure that we've gotten rid of all the lumps and things like that. But it looks pretty smooth already. But this is the second step to allow you to adjust the color if you want to. You don't want to over mix the egg yolk mixture, but you want it well mixed. So I'm going to go 30 seconds again, and then speed 4.
Just to
And I
jump
think
in a
some
little
of the
bit,
chiffon
if
cake.
there is, if you can see what we're doing, this is a group of consultants from Sydney, from 4 teams. We love our Thermomix so much, and we love that we can bring our family and our kitchen to yours. And if you were in this time, especially when you're looking at you're spending more time at home, you're working from home, how about doing a side business? Being a consultant is one of those joys that we have to share with others, recipes from home or recipes that we have learned over our time in using our Thermomix. And if it's better time to start now, because the business is now having a business kit that is half price, and that's going to end in 10 days time on the 25th of August. So if you're keen to perhaps pursue the Thermomix as a consultant, there are lots that you can gain from that. But the most important thing is that the community shares all these recipes from different nations, because we use our Thermomix to get there. So it's so wonderful that we can share and this recipe. And yes, definitely you'll get these recipes in your email, so don't worry about it. And the lively chats going on has links as well to recipes and to links that the mix shop links if you're interested. So yes, back to you. Sorry, Deb.
Right, no, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I've poured the egg mixture into a clean stainless steel bowl. It doesn't have to be stainless steel, but just a clean bowl. And I'm going to set it aside, and we're going to do the egg whites now. So as you can see, if I have all my ingredients in place, then it's a really quick interchange. And once the egg whites are done, I'll show you the folding method. And that's quite a key factor in this recipe. So put the butterfly whisk in, and you will need 300 grams of egg whites. If I'm stating the obvious, forgive me, but you need clean egg whites. You can't have any yolks in them at all, otherwise they won't whip up. And you need a super clean Thermomix bowl. Everything has to be very clean. So 300 grams. A little bit extra is fine.
Always happy to have 2 bowls, isn't it, Edeb?
The second bowl is a game changer. So I will go through if you only have 1 bowl, but absolutely, if you ever get a chance to buy a second bowl, it's totally a game changer in the kitchen. It's going to make your food prep and your Thermomix experience much, much better. So that's the egg whites. And what I'm going to do is
Sorry, Deb, egg whites, are they chilled or room temperature?
I've just taken straight out of the fridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Size.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't really matter because
Does
the
it
egg
matter?
whites, yeah, because you're measuring it in grams. So that's why in the recipe I've said 10 to 12 eggs just to be prepared. If you have small eggs, if you have large eggs, it's going to vary. But the best thing about this recipe is because the eggs are weighed down to the gram, you will not have any variation of your chiffon cake because it's exact ingredients, right? You're measuring the exact grams of the eggs. It doesn't matter whether they're small eggs or big eggs. You've got exact measurements. Okay, this is 4 grams of cream of tartar, and this is just acts as a stabilizer. Okay. I'm just going to leave that open just so that you can see it mixing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it until stiff peaks form. And what you'll be able to do if you have a Thermomix is you'll be able to hear the change as the egg whites start to stiffen. And while that's stiffening, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step away from the Thermomix and have a chat about the variations. So I'm going to set my timer to 4 minutes. Speed 3.5. I'm going to have a chat on this side. Is that, can everyone hear me?
Yep. Sounds good.
So I wanted to go through some of the variations that you could do with this recipe and what I often do. So one of the most common variations that I do is instead of 180 grams of the pandan mixture, I do 180 grams of orange juice, right, freshly squeezed or even from the bottle. So basically that 180 grams of orange juice is equivalent to your 120 grams of coconut milk and 60 grams of pandan juice or pandan extract. Another one I do is coffee mixture, so like a milk coffee mixture or chocolate. So basically you do some sort of concentrate in a mix and then make it up to 180 grams of liquid. So that's how you can vary this recipe. Another thing that I wanted to say is if you don't have a 9-inch tin and you have a 7-inch, like I've got multiple chiffon cakes, but if you have a 7-inch, what you can do is you can actually halve this recipe. So mathematically 9 to 7-inch isn't quite half, but from my experience, if you only have a small one, then halve this recipe and it'll fit beautifully in here. And what I'm going to do after this, once I've put the chiffon cake in the oven, I'm going to show you one that I've made earlier, and I've done it in a 7-inch tin. So there are plenty of ways that you can vary this recipe, and it's easy because you don't have to adjust you don't have to adjust the eggs, like in quantity. You just adjust it by the weight. Someone said, can you use a bundt cake? Yes, the answer is probably not. This goes against all Western cake making in the sense that you never grease your tin. That's one of the other things that's commonly asked, and one of the things that I googled the first time I did a chiffon cake. You do not grease the tin because what you want is that you want the sides of the cake to cling onto the tin while you're turning it upside down, right? So that's what you want. Yeah, definitely non-stick tin. So, and what I'll also go through is how you get it out. There are a couple of ways that you can get it out. On YouTube, you can find a way that you can massage the chiffon cake out. I've done that too. It's pretty scary because you don't want to deflate as much, but it does work. What I do is I use a very thin steak knife and I turn it on its side and I very carefully cut it out. Just roll it to the side and cut it out. And I also cut in the middle as well, just to pop it out. And then I slowly pop it out, and then you'll have this. Right, you'll have the cake on this. Once you've got this, you've got to get it unstuck from here. Remember, it's non-stick, all right? So that's where I massage. I can massage it out, just very slowly, just kind of shifting it out, and then I pop it, and then start to shake it down to a plate, and it comes off straight away. And I'll show you one that I cut out earlier. All right, let's go back.
For anyone who is on this workshop, don't worry, the recording will be sent out to you.
All right, now we've got egg perfectly cooked, perfectly whipped egg whites. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to add the sugar 1 teaspoon at a time. And I'm just going to set the speed up to speed 3.5. And I'm just going to slowly add. This is 50 grams of sugar, 1 teaspoon at a time. Don't feel tempted to put everything, all the sugar in. What you want to do is you want to put the sugar in slowly, right? You don't want to deflate the egg whites.
If I turn the video thing off, maybe I'll just watch it through the audio, but it doesn't work like that. See that? It's better to watch it through the computer.
You can't see Jeanette, but can you?
No.
No. You can hear.
All right, and that's it. So I'm just going to go down here. Got egg whites mixed with the sugar. All right, so I'm going to now show you how to fold in the egg whites, and this is very key. Okay, I'm not going to use this special, I'm just going to use a bit more of a flexible one. Okay, I'm using a metal spoon, right? Adding 1/3 of the egg whites first. Slowly folding and incorporating the egg whites. You do not want to have any egg white streaks, right? Because what you'll find is that will appear in your chiffon cake as like a white spot. So with the first 1/3 of the egg whites, I'm going to be folding it all well until it's quite well incorporated. And you can see that the color's fading, right? So don't worry about the intensity of the color in the yolk mixture. Just keep in mind that as you add the egg whites, it's going to even lighten the color even more. So, okay. This is the folding movement that you don't want to overwork it, but you want to make sure that it's well mixed. Sorry, my computer's run out.
Okay, it's all right. We can see the other one.
Yeah, so we'll just keep it with this one. So that's that. Okay, now I'm going to put in the next 2/3. Okay, gets faster. And then I'll add in the rest.
At this point of time, we just want to remind you that if we have gone 10 minutes past our 1 hour's expectation, so if you would like to, we apologize. We have one more dish to show you, but if you feel like you need to stop right now, and we will have the recording sent to you. But we appreciate you to stay on because we are learning gold here from you, Deb, and we don't want to stop watching.
Thanks, Tina.
It's a dance.
It is a dance, and I'm moving as quickly as I can because you have to take advantage of the fact that the egg whites are still quite fluffy. One thing I should point out is make sure you dig really deep down on the bottom, because often the bottom bit still has quite a bit of the egg yolk mixture. So you don't want to deflate, but you want to make sure that you won't have a layer of egg yolk mixture that sinks down. You want it all well incorporated. So I can see it's quite well incorporated already, right? It's very quick. Okay, so now pouring it into the tin. Don't pour it at a great height. Pour it very gently, right? You want it, do you see the ribbon consistency? It's really beautiful, right? So that's kind of how I pour it. Just pour it from one side. It'll all gradually go into the other side. And then I'll go through how we can make sure that our chiffon cake doesn't have really big bubbles in the end. Okay.
I'd say that the chiffon cake mold is going to run out stock in Mix Shop very soon after this show. So for those who are planning to make chiffon cake and you don't have a chiffon tin, best to buy it now.
Definitely. And the chiffon tin in the Mix Shop is actually a very good price point compared to elsewhere. So it's a good deal. Okay, so here's my chiffon tin, chiffon cake. Make sure that there aren't any kind of mixtures, little spots around here. Otherwise, it'll cling onto that spot. What you want to do is you want to make sure that it's all clean in the middle and on the side, because what you want is the cake to rise up. And what I do is I just do a light tap of the chiffon tin. And this is something I learned from a friend who's on here right now, is to get a bamboo skewer or any skewer and slowly just do a circle around, a spiral around to the middle. And what this will do is it'll actually pop any big air bubbles within the mixture, right? So what you can see on the top is there are some air bubbles that you would naturally just pop. You could just pop here like that, right? But what you can't see is the bubbles that are in the inside of the mixture, right? And that's it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this in the oven, 150 degrees for 55 minutes.
the magic of television. Here's one I prepared earlier. This is in my 7-inch tin. And the moment of truth, I'll be cutting it right in front of you.
So did you do the massaging for this one?
No, I did the cutting and then I massaged the bottom.
Okay. And
Yeah.
is this the 7-inch? Is the 9-inch 2 of 7 inches?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can see that. It's a very light color because I didn't add too much, but I want to show you how soft it is and how good the structure is. I'll squeeze it. Goes back. It's a beautiful light chiffon cake. And I've also done another one that I had to make another one because my husband had to eat it straight away. This is a blood orange. So, you know, this is a 90 grams of orange juice because I've cut it in half, and it produces a beautiful light tangy chiffon cake.
Thank you. That's so good. Well done. Okay, everyone's gonna start to try the chiffon cake, and we'll push you over. Put Sharon on now. Okay, over to you, Sharon.
Hi everyone, Sawadika. Bringing you to Thailand now. Do a Thai style dish with rice noodles. Have you ever has anyone tried to do rice vermicelli?
Oh, Sharon, I don't know whether it's just my camera, but it's a little bit.
Thermomix. Have you found that it chops it out? Sorry?
No, just the sound. Just keep on going. Your sound improves now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it can.
Okay. So we're gonna do rice vermicelli, and I'll teach you the tips and tricks. Now, I've already started the cooking of that prawn, and the reason why we cook it until those prawns you can hear it bubbling, and the reason you need it bubbling is so that you get rid of that seafood smell that you might not be so partial to. Okay, so I'll start with going through to the next part, which is to do the
What are you making?
I'm making TomYum Vermicelli. I have pre-made my sauce, and this sauce is you can find it on Cookie Doo.
And we will add how to make that tom yum sauce that she has prepared earlier as a video on YouTube.
So I'm going to put in about 250 or a little bit more because I wasn't able to get any what you call it I wasn't able to get what's the vegetable? Bean sprouts today. Okay. And sorry. So now, earlier I made the stock. So because I've got prawns in this dish, and I'm going to show you high heat prawns, what I've done is I've taken the skin and made a prawn stock with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in. So I'm just weighing the stock out. So it's just 450 of the stock. Instead of water, you can use water if you want to. And then in goes, this is the Thai chili sauce. which is a sweet chili sauce, so that I don't have to add too much more sugar, just a little bit.
Sharon, could you check if your second camera or your first camera is the video is playing, because it's right now toggled at your. Okay, we've got this first one, but the second one is still. So we've got the TM, the one that's overhead, the TM. That's fine. That's the one on top.
So, and then I'm going to add in the tom yum paste which I made earlier. Here I have torch flour and chili. I'll talk to you a little bit later about it. And this is kaffir lime leaf. Fish sauce, and Thai food always has sugar. It's not Thai without some sweetness in it. And we're going to add a little bit of dark soy sauce. And that's just to give it a bit of a color. Okay, so that is the sauce, and that is the stock that we just made. Put that all in.
So you've mixed it and then you transferred it to the second bowl with the warm box. Okay.
I didn't mix it very well though. Okay. And it goes. And then I'm just going to and we're going to cook it for 10 minutes at 100.
Okay, so now we're going to, should we move to our presenters who are ready to show their dishes? Can we present Anne's dish? Yes, Anne, you're on.
Yes, I'm ready. Here's my chicken Hainan.
Oh, so
Steaming with the varoma, and the rice is cooked in the simmering basket and for 20 minutes, and after that leave it inside the thermal server to keep it and for the water to absorbing into the rice. And you can see how fluffy it is. Don't think that Thermomix cannot cook the rice. It's cooked the perfect rice. Believe me, I'm the Asian, but I still know that it's cooked perfect rice for you. And as you have already seen, I cook the ginger sauce and the chili sauce that I normally make for my family. So I have it ready to show you. And that's my chicken Hainan. Only you just have to prepare the sauce and then sauteing with rice for a while. And then after that, the Thermomix gonna cook it for you for 40 minutes. You don't have to do anything. You come back and you have your rice, your chicken, even if you want, you can have another layer with some vegetable for you on that. That's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's so good. Now, Betty, over to you. Sorry, Betty.
Hi. So both the egg tarts and the siu mai is ready. I left them in the tray so I could show you how you take them out. They're kind of quite cool now, but if they're quite hot and you want to eat them really hot and fresh, you would need 2 pieces of paper towel so that you don't burn your fingers. They can be really hot. You pick one up, you turn it. With that paper towel, you pick it up and you take the mold out, drop it somewhere really quick so it doesn't burn you. Put like a paper cupcake liner on, and you have your egg tarts, but they are quite cool now, so I can just take them out from the mold. The portion that I gave you approximately makes about 30 egg tarts. And if you have any pastry left over, you can just blind bake them and then take them out. You can fill it with some custard and put some fruits on to make yourself a nice fruit tart. And this is actually very, very, very authentic. It's very much like what you would get as a street food in Hong Kong with the recipe I gave you guys. So do
Betty,
give it like a.
could you sacrifice one? Could you sacrifice one for us now and open and just tear it apart?
Of course.
Oh my gosh, that's making us melt. So good.
25 grams, you won't have too thick a bottom and it'll be quite even everywhere.
Yum. No,
It is actually really good. It's one of my favorite recipes. And I'm going to quickly show you the Siu Mai, except some has been stolen by children already. As soon as it finished steaming and they could smell it, they all came rushing.
I love the cats too.
Yes, there's a cat behind the camera, yeah, actually. So there was 2 layers. I'll just show you the top layer now. It's actually really, really good dim sum. It's actually comparable to a Yum Cha place, and if anything, I would say it's actually better than what I get from Yum Cha. You can eat it straight or have some soy sauce, but generally having it just like that is perfect as it is. I will again chop one open just to show you guys.
Yum. Now you're
It's
killing
so
us.
good.
Now you're killing us.
It's
Oh
perfect
my,
texture. It's
that's
really good. So there you are. Egg tart and siu mai must make. It's actually really good and easy to make.
wonderful. Thanks a lot, Betty. Now over to you, Lucy. So Lucy's Gado Gado has been there.
Well, this is what we got here. So I got my kale, my bean sprout, the chocos, tofu, which is I air fried, then beans, then the potatoes, tempeh, then the raw cucumber and the raw cabbage. And on the side, we have all the crackers there that the girls will really love that. And with we'll serve this with the peanut sauce.
Thank you very much. Awesome. So Sharon, we'll pass it over to you. Thanks, Lucy. Okay.
So in the meantime, I've got my noodles soaking in cold water. Make sure it's cold water and not hot water. And you do it for 5 minutes only, not any longer. So we just want to get it softened enough so that it doesn't crumble in the, or gets cut up or gets too soft when it gets put through the Thermomix later. Now, I wanted to talk to you, show you what I used, how to make the prawn stock. Basically, I kept the shells from the prawns that we're going to use, that I was going to use from the high heat. I put a little bit of garlic and ginger, stir fry that first, and then put the prawn heads in the high heat, prawn skins and shells in the high heat mode. And then after that, I finish it off with about 500 grams of water to make that prawn stock. The other thing that you might want to know, if anyone wants to know, this is what we call a torched ginger flower. It's got a beautiful aroma that's got a kind of a sourish kind of tang to it. In Southeast Asia, we use this a lot to put it and flavor our foods. My mom's from Peranakan and from Malaysia, so we use this a lot in a lot of different dishes just to flavor and to as like a herb. Now, what I'm going to do.
Sorry, Sharon, can I just ask, was that the jam funnel that you were using before?
Yeah, it's a funnel so that I could.
So creative, love it. Thank you.
So I'm going to do the prawns while we're waiting, and all of this is the high heat prawns. So you can see sauteed prawns, and then what I'm going to do is say start cooking, and instead of vegetable oil, because I made earlier, I made some crispy shallots. I'm going to use 20 grams of this. I have to be mindful not to soften my.
What oil were you using? You used to cook
So this
it.
is shallot oil. So
Oh, the
earlier
shallot oil.
I made some crispy shallots. So that's the oil from that. It's because it's got that lovely aroma in it. That's why I'm using it. And when you're doing the prawns, make sure you don't chop it up too fine because it will burn in high heat mode. Okay, so I'm just going to put, and they're quite big pieces, as to say. So that goes in with the oil. And I will do and always have your splash guard ready. So I've got, I'm going to saute it first. And I don't have anything on top. So no measuring cup. But I have my splash guard for when I do the prawns. Now, that's about 5 minutes. So I better grab the noodles out because otherwise they will be too soft.
So Sharon's making the TomYum Vermicelli, and she's now frying the prawns, and she's now sifting the vermicelli, which is a rice vermicelli that you can find in a lot of Asian shops.
So I'm just going to show you that temperature has hit Varoma. Okay, so in your dial, you will have targeted temperature you want to hit, but above is the temperature. So you don't put in your noodles until it hits Varoma. So now it has, I'm going to put it down, put it in.
And Varoma is the highest temperature that you can have in your Thermomix.
Steaming.
So it's a steaming high heat, which is the highest.
Now that's quite a lot of noodles. There's a 400 pack in there.
And how long has it been soaking?
Just on 5 minutes, I hope. I was busy talking to you, lost track. And then we will cook it for 3 minutes.
Okay, great. So that would just wrap things up a little bit. We have presented to you let me change mine to spotlight. So
Make sure you have the speed at 2 and reverse, because what you want is to have that noodle spinning around. Because if you don't spin it around, if it doesn't spin around, it will get cut up beneath. Okay, so it's important to do that.
It's very helpful to have that second camera.
Yes, for this dish, yes.
Yes, okay. So how long more do we have until it's done? 2-3 minutes, you mentioned?
Yep.
And how would you serve this?
I've got a dish behind, sitting behind.
And for those who have been asking about the egg tart shells, we will be giving you some links to where you can purchase it on eBay. So thank you so much. And that also means that you can start to contribute and be a part of cooking with the recipes that you've seen so far. And we'd like to invite you to our Insiders group, our Facebook page for Thermomix users. Find that on Facebook. And we can if you can pop that into the chat, please join in, because that's where we inspire and where we share the recipes that we've tried from the workshops that we've done. Love to see all your cooking from today. I hope you have been inspired. We just want to remind you again that the recipes here, not only are they from Cookie Doo, some of them have been tweaked. Some of them have been recipe has been converted from family recipes and using the method of the TM6. And why would we want to use the Thermomix? Much like what Deb says, it creates consistency. You want consistent results for your chiffon cake. You want a fantastic result for your egg tarts. And we use the Thermomix because it determines a very good result. So today we've seen a lot of technique. We've seen a lot of experience. We want to thank all these presenters for bringing their homes to us in our couches as we enjoy. And we want to also challenge ourselves if you'd like to get on board making these dishes and start to there's Sunday for you to cook. If you have some of the recipes ready on hand, I'm sure we all have eggs and plain flour. We could whip up a chiffon cake. So maybe if you don't have that chiffon cake mold right now, you could easily make a in a cake tin. It would still do quite well. You could try that out with a cake tin, and you could even make it in a flatter tin where you can create a what we call a spring roll. Oh no, what do you call it? A chiffon cake roll. Swiss roll. That's right, Swiss roll. Got my tongue mixed up. So you could also make a Swiss roll, whip up some cream, and then you could roll it up, and you also have a similar sort of cake because it is the chiffon cake is nice and light and fluffy, and you can make a beautiful Swiss roll out of that. How are we going, Sharon? Are you finishing up? You need to go off mute.
So when you're doing high heat, it's important to make sure that you stick to the weights, because if you don't stick to the weights, what happens is it will stop working. Okay, and it's a safety reason. And the reason why we've got those controlled quantities is because the heat is right at the bottom. So you don't want it to be too full. If it's too full, the things on the top won't have that high heat. Okay, and that's only just another 2 minutes. The noodles. So what I'm waiting, you see the temperature is it's getting down to 90. I'm waiting for it to be 90 so that it absorbs all those flavors in. And then I will show you the plating.
And Sharon, somebody
Yes.
asked about recipes for the shallot, the crispy shallots and the garlic. Is that included in your video?
It's not in my video, but there is a recipe on Cookie Doo, and I'll
There we go. Okay.
I will do it. If they want a video, just put it in the chat, and I will create one.
Oh no, they were just after the recipes, but they'll be included in those Cookie Doo recipes that are sent around. Great, thank you.
Yeah.
So what we've done is that we'll create a video. Once the recording's up and loaded, we'll send that in in an email along with tips, along with the authentic recipes that we've used today, along with the links for things like this fried shallots, so that you can go straight to it and start cooking. So thank you so much for staying on, for those who have hung on this long. And if you're inspired, I would want to recommend to you to join the business, because you can also participate in inspiring others as well. Maybe your skill is in another type of cuisine, or maybe it's in baking, or maybe it is in something else that what we haven't tried, that Sydney would benefit much more with a version of the cuisine that you do really well. Come and find out how the business inspires and join the consultancy. I would really recommend you, because we have so much fun together, as you can see that we're having right now, and we can share this to you, and that's our pleasure. And for those who have is for the first time you're seeing the Thermomix and you want to ask more questions about what the Thermomix can do, especially to cook recipes that you are used to, please contact your consultant. And if you don't have a consultant, or ask the friend who's invited you to link you to their consultant. We are there to help you, and we are here to inspire you. As you can see, the Thermomix can make Asian cooking. Not only are we making a savory dish right now that Sharon's making, we've made desserts, we've made steamed food, we've made a salad. So this is a repertoire of only a surface of the things that you can do in Asian cuisine. and that's what the Thermomix does for you. The Cookie Dough, which is the recipe platform that the Thermomix uses, has 70,000 recipes in so many different languages. So it gives you authentic recipes that you would find of recipes that you are used to traditionally, or that you want to learn and to learn a different cuisine. So step up and find out much more what the Thermomix can do for you. It's definitely really fun in the kitchen with a Thermomix. So looks like Sharon's ready to plate, and then after that we're all having all these hunger pangs now. Everyone's so hungry. What are we cooking tonight? Can anyone pop in the chat? What are we having for tonight? Any plans? I hope you have something planned right now. And if not, the Thermomix can be making anything from a simple soup to a curry right now. Oh, gado gado. Bye, Carrie. Thanks, everyone. We've passed so far. Well, it's like 45 minutes past. Thank you so much for hanging on. And if you feel like you need to step up and get your dinner going, please go on ahead. Curry fish head. Oh my goodness.
So I just want to let you know, you can see that the noodles didn't break. Okay, they are holding on.
We need to spotlight the second one. Okay, there you go.
And
Can you draw us to your, yeah, let us see what you've made, because it's right now.
do you have the spotlight on top?
Yep,
So
I'll
you
try
can
that.
see. So you can see the prawns are there.
I love the colors.
Yeah, I'm just going to put all that prawn flavor in there from the oils of the prawns. If you feel, depending on the size of the prawns, if you feel that timing is going to be too dry, you can choose to reduce the timing. Okay.
Okay. Well, that's really super yum. Awesome, guys. Thanks, presenters. Thanks, audience. That looks so good.
And you can, I've got some prawn oil here to finish off too. Just to give it that little bit of extra flavor.
Awesome. All right, thank you all. I will stop spotlight myself. Thank you so much. It's way past the time. We thank you so much. Remember, there's a video out for you that you can grab once you've registered. And if you haven't registered, remember, just have a shout out to us right now. Maybe put in the chat your email address. We'll have it sent out to you. But thanks again for coming and joining us in From Our Homes to Your Homes, Asian cooking, Asian favorites for you. We hope that you enjoyed yourself. Take care and have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tina. Don't forget to stop the recording. Yeah.